Hey everybody, hi, welcome back to Smarketing CONNECT's podcast. I'm here today with another awesome guest, David Gilman with Cognito. But again, as I do all the time, I'm not going to do a lot of time explaining who David is. I'll let him do that himself, and we'll move right into the first question. So welcome, David, and in a few sentences, tell us who you are and what you do.
Certainly. First off, thanks for having me here, Tom. I appreciate it. My name is David Gilman. I'm the owner of Cognito, and we help small businesses to get recognized in unique ways by offering graphic design services. So some of those things include brand identity development, logo design, and the design of various marketing collateral that hopefully attracts their target audience and boosts their numbers.
Awesome. And just to let you know, guys, if I could have, I probably would have spattered a bunch of Dave's work on here because Dave is awesome. I've seen a lot of his work and it's really incredible. So Dave, can you elaborate just a little bit on, is it just, so it's not a simple logo design, right? You give somebody a full, once you design their logo, they can use it in just about every facet of what they need for their business. Isn't that right?
Yeah, and I appreciate the compliment. Yeah, it's a logo that we have strict standards, so will work in any capacity, whether it's really large, really small. One of the biggest mistakes I see companies make is to design a logo and not see the longevity of the logo, meaning that at some point in time, it might actually even have to sit on a black background. And if the logo hasn't been designed properly, then it actually usually blends in with a black background, and can't even be seen. So I always bring that up to people.
Yeah, good point. Good point. Okay, so the next question. So tell us about the kinds of companies that you enjoy working with, either size or type, style. What types of companies really get you excited to work with?
And so I love working with the companies that I typically say are between 5 and 40 employees. They're the companies that are usually generating anywhere from $2 to $40 million in annual revenue. So they're kind of at a size where they don't have an in-house graphic designer, or even in some instances an in-house marketing department. So they usually outsource projects like those to companies like me, and I love working with them. And another smaller demographic of who I like to work with, and I actually have to correct how I say it, is well-funded sole proprietors, because they can actually make very quick decisions. I usually get involved with them at a really deep level, and those are the people I love working with as well. So it goes really kind of small down to the larger companies and everything in between.
So does the style company or the type of market that they serve make any difference to you at all?
It does. In the beginning of my business, it was very much industry focused, where I worked with high tech, nonprofit, and education. But now I seem to be kind of working with people of different sizes on a needs basis, really on what they need or what particular design that they need, and that can actually now span across a lot of industries.
Awesome. Very cool. So this particular question, I love asking experts because not only are all of us, professionals within our own right, but most of us are also our own small business owners, right? So for our audience, I like to ask this question about small business tools. Do you have any that you would highly recommend, and can you give us a little bit in idea of why you would recommend that tool to people?
Certainly, one tool that comes to mind, something that I use beyond what I thought I would use it for, is QuickBooks. And what I really like about QuickBooks is it allows you to set memorized reports. So at any point in time, whether it be daily, weekly, monthly, or annually, you can actually have it like run certain reports of some aspects of your business. So for example, I break down all my services under my services list in QuickBooks. So I'll write down logo design, trade show signage design, Photoshop production design. So I offer a wide variety of services in addition to sometimes the ones I promote or brand myself as. And at the end of the year or quarterly, I can run and see kind of where the money was coming in from and what I might want to focus on. So every year I might kind of take a look at seeing, like, at a bird's eye view of, oh, where was I working on? What type of projects this year? What's trending this year? So that's a tool I'd recommend in addition to kind of seeing the financial health of a company all
Yeah.
throughout the year is a must too.
Well, and I think that's a very good point too, where most people think of QuickBooks as simply a financial tool to maintain their books, and you tend to use it also as a strategic planner, so to speak.
Yes.
Very cool. Very cool. I don't think I would have thought about it that way either, but I like it.
That was a tip from a bookkeeper.
Well, we'll have to thank those bookkeeping guys.
Yeah.
So this question I find interesting when I ask guys like you, Dave, because I think that we think from understanding what you do as a business that it's self-explanatory. And I asked this question, and I ask you to answer this question in a way that it's not self-explanatory. So rather than say, well, yeah, people just bring me in to do their logo or whatever, is there some more in-depth thought process behind why companies will bring you in and solve particular challenges when it comes to their graphic design work?
Yeah, one thing that's often kind of disconnected between business owners and graphic designers is there's a lot of words being thrown out there that some people say, oh, I just want something to look pretty, or the reason why they might hire a graphic designer. But that's more of a personal standpoint versus a business standpoint. And I come at it from a business standpoint. My goal is always the same. It's always to help the bottom line or to attract a particular target audience that will generate further revenue through design. For example, I've often heard people, if somebody looks at a logo and it looks really designed poorly and of poor quality, some people might judge that company and not want to do business with them. And likewise, if somebody's going to be designing a sell sheet or a flyer and handing it out at a trade show, if it hasn't been designed properly to do something that's going to engage the viewer, to have a strong headline with a compelling graphic that leads you down to the bottom, that has a clear call to action, chances are that piece of paper is going to be thrown in the recycling bin or the trash, hopefully
We hope
not.
the recycling bin.
Yeah. And so it's really about, it's most people don't really think about it, but really I help businesses to increase their revenue through compelling design.
Oh, that's actually, I like the way you put that too. You're doing very well here, Dave.
Oh, thank you, Don.
This is another one, right? So this is another one of those questions that's like, I don't know how often people ask you about this, but I like to hear from other marketing and sales professionals about what they say to their clients or their friends and family about, if I'm going to go hire a sales and marketing consultant, what kind of advice would you give that person, or or what kinds of questions you would make sure they would want to ask, stuff like that? How would you advise somebody that was coming to you telling you that they need to find either a sales and or marketing consultant to work with?
Yeah, it's a little bit of a tough question, but I guess if I were to look at that question, I guess it depends where the person is at. What I mean by that is, if somebody's just starting out, a good salesperson, or I should say a marketing agency, are usually equipped in asking the people, who are you? What do you do? What's your unique selling proposition? What are the benefits that you're offering to your target audience? What goals do you have? So they can be really good at helping somebody to kind of figure out where they are and where they're going. But then there are other people who might be further along down the line who actually know like what their financial projections are. And then typically the marketing agency or the salespeople will actually kind of reverse engineer that and kind of help them to break things down into specific goals that are measurable, to make sure that they're kind of doing the sales and marketing activities that are going to bring about the end result. So I guess it depends on whether the people know where they're going, or they know where they're going and need help to kind of get there, is kind of the way I look at it.
So the advice that you're going to give these small business owners is understand yourself first before you start asking any questions.
Yes, yes. Otherwise, that there isn't a lot of clarity gained at the moment in time.
Understood. This is probably my favorite question on the entire interview, Dave, and I'm going to explain to you why. Because I just want to make sure that our viewership understands that we're all human and we can have a little fun and kind of laugh at each other and joke around a little bit. Now, that being said, there are all kinds of psychological reasons that this question gets asked. Believe it or not, this question is in a lot of psychology type atmospheres. I'm not using it for that. I'm using it just to joke around. So, so Dave, I ask you, if you could be a superhero, who would you be and why?
I guess I should ask you, is this more from the personal side or the business side or both?
I would say both. I would say go for it on either way.
Hmm. Well, I guess I'll probably lean towards the business side as that's what's coming to my mind. I guess I would be brand man.
Okay. Tell us who Brandman is.
I suppose what one thing that brand man would do is he would be able to cast a vision amongst business owners or people who actually have designs that could need significant improvement. So it would actually give them the ability to actually see something for what it was. So if they might have like a poorly designed trade show booth or a logo that doesn't really match their business, or they have some sort of web design that maybe be 15, 20 years behind the time, that they would actually now have a new vision and would actually be able to see it for what it was, knowing that it could be improved. And by doing that, it would make the world look like a better place.
So Brandman's superpower is to give people the sight of truth.
Yes, well stated, Tom. I
All
like that.
right. All right. So I think this is the last really question-ish, I guess, part of this, which would be it's an opportunity for you to talk about somebody that you've worked with in the past that you really like, that you want to give a little bit of a shout out, give them a little bit of some credit to them, as well as kind of answer our question is whether or not you think they would be not whether or not you think they would be, but who you think would be also a good guest for our podcast. So do you have another expert that you recommend to us to bring on the podcast and give you an opportunity to talk a little bit about them?
Sure. Actually, somebody who I met through the Smarketing Connect would be Gail Snow-Moraski of Results Communications and Research.
Yeah, Gail's great. Yeah. Have you worked with her already?
I have. We had a lot more similarities in common than we thought. We too love and thrive in working with kind of the smaller businesses due to kind of like helping them get their businesses off the ground. And one thing that I noticed about her is she's really strategic, really technical, goes really deep in kind of helping people with like SEO, Google Ads. She really does a lot of deep keyword research and analysis on business. So she's a very interesting person to work with.
Awesome. That's fantastic. And I love the fact that you gave a shout out to another Smarketing Connect expert. So that's awesome. Thank you for that, David. So here, the contact information that is on the screen right now is a way you can get in touch with David based on the information that's on your website, Dave. What I'd like to give you an opportunity to do is if there's something or if there's a way for somebody to reach out to you that is not on the screen, give you a few minutes to talk about other ways in which people can reach out and connect you if they want to engage or if they want to ask you any additional questions. But is there anything other than what you see here as to how somebody can reach out to you?
Yeah, what you have listed there is a great way to reach out to me. Another way is just type in David Gilman into LinkedIn. I usually have a lot of activity on there, and I'm usually quickly seen as there's not a lot of David Gilmans out there that I know of. So yeah, what you have there works out just fine.
Awesome. Well, Dave, thank you so much for being an awesome guest, and thank you everybody for watching. And look forward to our next podcast.
And thank
Thanks
you,
very
Tom.
much, everybody.
I really appreciate it.